Hi everyone, happy Friday. Thank you for joining us today. I am coming to you live from a quintessential spring morning here in beautiful British Columbia. The sky is blue, the birds are chirping outside of my window, and I couldn't be more excited to talk to you today about wellness. If you have had the opportunity to check out any of our social channels this week, you will have seen that we've launched a brand new campaign, Saje National Wellness Presents Well-Beings. I'm so excited about this campaign for two main reasons. So number one, we've had the opportunity to work with an incredible group of people within the wellness space. So people who are really sharing their personal stories and what has sort of led them to the part of the journey they are on today. And the second reason is because we're going back to basics. We're really going back to the foundational, fundamental wellness products that we created many, many years ago to share with our community that have really brought us to the space that we are in today. My name is Kristin. I'm the National Educator here at Sage. It's a pleasure every time I have the opportunity to talk wellness. I love what we do. I love the products that we offer, and it's a true pleasure to share them with all of you. So in saying that, we're going to look at 6 different products today. 4 of them are roll-ons, and we're going to talk about not only the ways in which they were formulated for intended use, but the ways in which you can really sort of broaden your horizons and use them to support you in all sorts of unconventional ways. The first product we're talking about today, it's the product that started it all, our number one since day one. This is Peppermint Halo. So Peppermint Halo, for those of you who don't know, is quite literally the first product that was ever formulated here at Sage, was launched all the way back in 1992. So that's another fun fact, is that next year we will actually be celebrating 30 years as a brand, as a business, bringing these incredible plant-based, nature-derived ingredients and products straight to you. So Peppermint Halo, as formulated, is licensed in Canada as a headache remedy. So of course, we're going to spend time talking about the ways that it can support in relieving and releasing the tension, the tightness, the pain from headaches, but I want to suggest some of the other ways you consider it for use as well. So let's start in the headache space. So we're going to break down ingredient by ingredient and talk about how these would contribute to that overall wellness and, again, specifically relieving of headaches. The first ingredient, the key, is peppermint. Peppermint is what's known in aromatherapy as a vasodilator. I'm going to just give you a little diagram here, just like a little visual example. So think of your blood vessels like this. So if you have a headache, they're tightened, they're constricted, they're really in this sort of tense space. Peppermint allows them to widen. And this is blood going to move through this space, going to flow a little bit more, and that's going to relieve that tension. You also have rosemary. Rosemary is a warming stimulant. So that's, again, just going to increase that blood flow and help it move through to ease tension. You have eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is a breathing oil. A lot of times when we're experiencing pain, we become shallow in our breath. So we're really taking that, that small amount of oxygen in, and our body wants a little bit more. So eucalyptus encourages us to open up. The next 2 ingredients I want to talk about are vetiver and lavender, and these are both stress-relieving ingredients. Sometimes people would wonder why you find them in a pain product, and the reason is that pain is stressful to the body. Our bodies are really working hard to be in homeostasis, to be in balance, to be in center, and something like pain is really going to throw them off. So those very calming, really deeply relaxing ingredients, they just help to bring the body into a little bit of rest. The last ingredient is cajeput. Cajeput is comparable to a tea tree, so similar in its variety. It's very cleansing, it's really freshening, and again, just really going to help contribute in that breathing space. So when you think about applying the product for headaches, think about areas like along your forehead, your temples, even behind the ears, sort of on the back of the neck. And it takes just 3 or 4 minutes for that really deep cooling and tingling sensation to sort of set in that halo area. That's one of the ways, like I said, the product was originally intended for use, but over the years, we've seen it sort of evolve into so many spaces that you can get creative with. Because peppermint is cooling, it's tingling, it's very soothing to the skin, to the body, and even to the mind. A lot of people love this product on the back of the neck and then over the trapezius and onto the shoulder. So even if you think about sort of holding yourself tense, or even if you're feeling hot, so temperature-wise, this product is going to cool. It's actually going to encourage you to just drop and just settle in, releasing those shoulders a little bit and being even more mindful of things like your posture. Another wonderful way to use it is for the feet. So picture you've been on your feet all day, maybe you've been in uncomfortable shoes, and you're just feeling tense. Your feet are just feeling a little bit tight. This can be really relieving and relaxing. My favorite way is to use it in a foot bath. So I like a water temperature a little bit more tepid on the cooler side. You're going to use the bottom end of your dropper here and then just add a few drops to your water. And again, just allow that to really relieve tension. I'm going to give it a quick smell. I realized I haven't even had my little smell yet today. My personal favorite way to use Peppermint Halo, and this has just sort of been an evolution of my personal experience over the last 6 years, is as a product that will assist me when I'm feeling anxious. So just the way that my body experiences symptoms of anxiety or overwhelm or tension, a lot of it sits for me sort of in my throat area or just sort of the upper region of the body. And it's been my personal experience that having that cooling sensation will again bring me back into presence and just remind me to be in my body and to be in stillness. So I'll often just roll a little bit along the throat or even the top of the chest. I always do just a touch, a little dab on the finger and under my nose. And what this works with is the idea of neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is a big fancy scientific term, but just to break it down into something more digestible today, think about being adaptable. Think about the brain being able to create new sort of pathways and patterns. So what I believe that I've had the experience of is a number of years in which I've experienced a sensation in the body and I've then treated it in a certain way. So I've come into a space in which when I'm feeling, like I mentioned, something tense or overwhelmed or anxious, I actually have a little bit of a craving for the feeling of Peppermint Halo on the body because I know how relieving it can be. So that's number one. I hope that gives you some new ideas that you can think about when exploring this product. The second one we're talking about today is stress release. So I dare any of us to find someone who within this last year would not say that they have had the experience of stress at some point in time. Stress is something that affects all of us and it affects us all very differently. It's really been my experience that many people have both physical and mental manifestations of stress and they show up really differently. So in the physical sense, this might be things like clenching your jaw, grinding your teeth. It can be again sort of hiking up those shoulders and just holding a lot of tension across the back. On the mental side, this can look like anything from racing thoughts to nervous chatter, feeling a little bit of excess worry. And so this is a product that is formulated to really be able to address all of those different symptoms. The number one ingredient in the blend is lavender. Lavender is not only the most well-known essential oil in aromatherapy, it is also very gentle. It has an acronym GRAS, G-R-A-S, and what it stands for is generally recognized as safe. So most people under most normal conditions, they experience lavender very well and their body is quite receptive. So when you think about that sedation, that relaxation, and that deep calm that comes from lavender, you'll understand why it's the key ingredient. It also includes orange. Orange is fantastic for boosting the mood. So I'm not talking here necessarily about the physical boost of energy, but more about the mental sort of lift. So if you're experiencing things like sadness or even a little bit of depression, orange can be very leveling for the mood and helping to, again, just sort of like renew the spirit and give you a little bit of freshness. My favorite ingredient in the blend is called Clary Sage. Clary Sage is a really wonderful herb. It's known as a euphoric. What that means is that it has a very powerful effect on our mind. So again, if you're one of those people who experiences stress in that way, and it has more to do with the way your thoughts race and your mind sort of moves quickly, this can really help to bring stillness. So if you're looking for clarity or just like a little bit of a reprieve from that sort of monkey mind that can go a little bit ahead of you at different times, this can be really fantastic. So you have many options in terms of how to use it, all of the same ways that we mentioned for Peppermint Halo. So on the forehead, the temples, I'm a really big fan of this product along the jawline. So again, if you find yourself grinding or clenching, on the throat and the chest, the wrist is always a really great area as well, specifically if you want to just have a little sniff throughout the day. And I want to share with you something that we call a sage breath. So I'm just going to open the roller end of my bottle. What you do here is a breathing exercise. So you want to start with hands that are clean, so freshly washed. Take one of your palms and then just apply the product. I'm quite generous, so I really like to get mine on there. And what you're going to do at this point is just like I mentioned, a breathing exercise. So rubbing your hands together, what this does is just helps to sort of activate your essential oils. You're going to make a bit of a cup shape like this over the nose and mouth. And here you want to breathe really intentionally. So you're going to go in through your nose, maybe to about a count of 4. Hold for just a second or two at the top, and then a long, slow exhale through the mouth. So it looks something like this. And then you get that long, slow exhale. I'm a big, big fan of the sage breath. There's a number of reasons for this. The idea of breathing essential oils in through the nose is very quick acting. You have just a couple of seconds before you're providing information to the brain and you're really starting to say to the body, hey, it's time for us to start paying attention to what's happening. And so when we know we're using essential oils that are relaxing, that are calming, it can start to send those sort of signals to the body quickly. So particularly if you're experiencing acute symptoms of stress and you're really sort of in a moment, this is a great way to get some grounding and some balancing into the body quite quickly. So that was number 2. Number 3 we're talking about today is called Sleep Well. So this comes to us from our very popular sleep category. The name says it all. Who doesn't want to sleep well? This is a product I feel really passionately about breaking down for our community and really ensuring that you understand who it was created for and how it's going to work. The first thing I want to do, I'm going to open up the cap and I'm going to put it back up close and just let you have a look at the color. So you see how it actually has that dark blue, sort of green, you can even see it in the lid color. That comes to us from a constituent called azulene. And this comes to us from the German chamomile, sometimes referred to as blue chamomile. So it's one of the only roll-ons you'll see in the store that actually has that blue-green color. And sometimes it creates questions. People are curious, like, why does that one have that sort of tone or that tinge? And that's where that comes from. The key ingredient I want to spend the most time talking about today is the star of the show. It's called Valerian. So let's talk a little bit just about the plant itself. When you see a valerian plant in the wild, I actually have one growing on my balcony, it's actually quite a scentless or odorless plant. It does produce these small clusters of white flowers and they have a nice delicate fragrance, but overall you wouldn't classify it as an overly sort of pungent or aromatic plant. But then you get below the surface, you get deep into the roots, so deep underground, and it's an entirely different story for valerian under there. So the essential oil itself is actually distilled from the roots. So it comes from that deep underground part of the plant. And my friends, it is stinky. There's no way around it. Valerian is a smelly plant. I love all the ways that I've heard people describe the aroma over the years. You've heard everything from a sweaty gym stock to a stinky bag or something that smells musty. And I say this in jest, but it's important to recognize that that is actually an important part of the plant's function. So knowing that it has that really pungent, that earthy and rich aroma isn't because something has gone wrong or because the plant isn't healthy. It's like, that's the way it is. So then what we do here at Sage is we work our little magic in formulation to use all sorts of essential oils that are also known for deep sedation, for that relaxation, for really inducing deep rest, but they're also going to offset that aroma to create something really pleasant that both your body and mind can experience in a positive way. So in the blend, you'll see things like lavender has that bright floral and herbaceous note. You have neroli, which is again a little bit of a citrus tone. We have something in the formula that's jasmine. I love the jasmine flower. It's a little bit musky as well. It definitely has richness and depth. It's known as an aphrodisiac, a really powerful personal support. You have both your German chamomile and your Roman chamomile. So you see all these things sort of come together to create a really harmonious formula that not only supports the body moving towards deep rest, but supports the body in experiencing it aromatically without just focusing on that one pungent note. So that's just a little bit of the background in terms of ingredients. Our community loves this product in a number of ways. So again, you're looking at things like your temples, your wrists. I'm a big fan of the throat and the chest. I love the idea that the natural heat in the body will just sort of move the scent upwards towards the nose. But the area I really want to focus on is actually the bottom of the feet. So the bottom of the feet serves a couple of purposes when you think about sleep well. Number one, it's the furthest away from the nose. So if you're not a huge fan of the aroma, this is a way to still experience the benefit without having it sort of right up in the breathing space. The other idea is that when we apply a product topically, so that means we're applying to the skin, it's going to take a few minutes to sort of penetrate through all of the layers and then enter the bloodstream. If you think about starting at the bottom of the feet, we know that the blood in our body flows towards our heart. So it's moving slowly and with more longevity through the body, and that's really going to support that longevity of effect. What I want to talk about here specifically is who this product is for. Sleep well, my friends, is the hammer. That's a little bit of an inside joke, the way that we refer to it here, because it really was formulated for chronic sleep issues. So I think of things like chronic insomnia, chronic fatigue, chronic restlessness, people who consistently have the experience of difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. I don't think about sleep well in terms of having had a bit of a tough day, or maybe you're going through transition and your mind's a little bit busy. If you find that you typically generally sleep well, this might not be the product for you. It actually might be too strong. When I mentioned all of sort of those chronic sleep related ailments, those are the people who need something that's going to be a little bit more potent and have that little bit of extra strength that takes them through the night and onward, but does things like not provide side effects. So when you think about taking medication, for example, for sleep, a lot of people report things like grogginess or brain fog the next day, and that's something that you're not going to have the experience of with essential oils. So when you're considering a product, think about those things for yourself. Think about whether this is sort of, just a moment in time or sort of a blip on your sleep radar, or whether or not this is an experience of something that you have consistently. The stress release that we talked about earlier, this is a fantastic option as a gentle sleep aid. So if you're looking for something a bit milder or something, again, that's just going to support sort of a moment in time, that might be something to consider. So that, my friends, is sleep well. We're going to switch gears here and we're actually going to move to talking about a diffuser. So I'm going to show you the one I have with me today. This is our Aroma Ohm in our classic white ceramic. So I'll show you all the angles up close and personal. This is a diffuser I love for a number of reasons. I do believe it's popular with our community for some of the same. So number one, it's beautiful aesthetically. It has a really classic, timeless, both shape and color. It has this sort of bottle shape here. It's made from a beautiful white ceramic. It's incredibly durable. And I think it just fits into most decors, most lifestyles, most sort of home spaces. The second piece is it's very highly functional. It's very easy to use, really simple, even if you're a beginner to diffusing, but the results are really tremendous. So I'm going to remove this cap here and we'll talk a little bit about what goes on inside. So you see here now, this is actually your inner sort of reservoir in your water tank. This is what we would call your secondary lid. So a plastic piece here, I'm going to just put that aside. We'll talk about it more in a moment. And I want to show you what's happening inside. So you see that little circle down in the bottom there, that's actually your disc. So that's your ultrasonic vibrating disc. That's what's going to create the mist that you see come from the diffuser. So here you also notice it says water level on the front of the tank. And this is where it's very simple to sort of apply the mechanics here. So you're going to add your water up to this water level line, add your essential oil directly to the tank. It's important we don't exceed this line because you actually need the space that's created above to create that mist. Next, you're going to replace your secondary cap. This is incredibly important, my friends. If we go without this piece, we're going to have a large sort of spill of water. You see how it has this sort of beveled fluted spout here. This is where that disc is actually going to push upwards and create a little bit of a vacuum in which the mist can come through the top. You're going to then replace your ceramic cap and you're ready to go. You'll see two buttons on the front. This small one here on the left, this is your light, and then this is your on and off button here on the right. The light, in my experience, provides a really beautiful ambiance to a space. It's not bright enough to be a reading light, but it would be something great like a night light, so either in a bathroom or a bedroom, and that's optional, so you can run the diffuser with that on or off. And then over on the right-hand side here, this is how you get the party started. So when you press the button once, this unit is going to run continuously. So that means you'll have mist going continuously for about 3 hours. If you press it the second time, it enters what's called an intermittent setting, and that means 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. So what this would do is actually double that time in running. So from 3 hours continuously, you're looking at about 6 hours intermittently. I'm a really big fan of this setting. I love the idea of just giving your nose a little bit of a break, having that sort of space between, and then I also like that I don't have to fill it up as often. So this is a diffuser, like I said, is incredibly popular within our community just for both its aesthetic and its functionality. So that is the Aroma Ohm. And of course, I would be remiss to not talk about our #1 top selling, most popular of all time diffuser blend. It's called Liquid Sunshine. And there we go, that gets it straight. I'm super excited because I brought the huge bottle, the very big bottle. So you see that this is the largest size we offer. I mention that for a reason. Not all of our diffuser blends are available in options this large. This is a direct request from our community. So people who knew that they love this product so much, they were using it all the time, and they really wanted an option for a larger size. So that's sort of a hot insider tip, is if you look at our assortment, when you see the different blends that have larger sizes, it's often because they're the most popular. So Liquid Sunshine, I have to give it a sniff because I just love this. In preparation for today's session, I filled all the diffusers in my home with this blend, so I've been enjoying it all morning. This is a bright, cheerful, uplifting citrus blend. You have essential oils like grapefruit, you have bergamot, lime, orange. All of these oils are fantastic at helping to give a little bit of a natural lift and a mood boost. But as we mentioned earlier, a number of them also have properties in supporting the mind. So if you wake up and maybe the sky's a little bit gray or it's rainy and dreary and you just want something to help sort of pull you into your space, you can rely heavily on citrus essential oils. They're very effective in this sense. Lime, for me personally, it's in my top 5 of all essential oils of all time. That's an oil that I find speaks really well to my olfactory system, just to my body as a whole. It makes me feel very level, just sort of set for the day. Bergamot is a great essential oil choice, again, for supporting the mind. So if you're just feeling a little bit low or sort of down in the dumps and you want to just give yourself a bit of a boost or a raise, it can help you get there. We talked about orange from the stress release blend. It's going to work the same way. And grapefruit, of course, we know just has that tart, zesty freshness that just sort of helps you get going and helps you on your way. So I think a lot of our community love this blend because of how fresh it is to start your day. Think about the idea, of closing your eyes and someone sort of giving you a visual or painting this picture of freshly squeezed juice, and maybe you're looking out over the mountains, as luckily as I am to do in the morning, and something that just sort of puts you in a happy place and puts you in a space in which you feel really revived, you feel awake, you feel ready to tackle the day. So that, my friends, is Liquid Sunshine. Like I mentioned, there are small and medium bottles available, and then this would be your large size. And last and certainly not least, the product we're going to end with today is called Extra Strength. So this guy has been a very close friend of mine for the last number of months. I don't know whether or not I've shared during any of my sessions, but I had knee surgery in January, and it has been a long and arduous process. So this is something that I'm still moving through in terms of my healing, and this product has been absolutely integral to that process for me, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about the ingredients and how I've arrived at that conclusion. So first off, you see the size of the product. I'm just going to show you here for scope. This is the only product we offer in this extra large size. So not only is it extra strong, it's extra large, it has a lot of really cool features. So starting with the top here, I just want to show you, I lovingly refer to this as my bingo dabber when you just see how large that roller is. And you may have seen when I was opening the product that this is actually a childproof cap. So both ends of the bottle, it's a childproof lid, so you just have to push down, do a little bit of a twist, and then it removes just like that. Let's talk about ingredients because this is really where the magic happens. So the star of the show, the key ingredient here, it's called sweet birch. Sweet birch is very high in something called methyl salicylate. So again, fancy science word, but it's actually the same active ingredient found in aspirin. So it has very powerful anti-inflammatory properties for the body. And what that can do is really help to target areas of pain, of soreness, of aching, of tension. You also have 2 ingredients I really love, rosemary and marjoram. I really like the idea of these paired together. They're both warming, they're both stimulant, they both also have that anti-inflammatory property. So you're starting to see here the way this is building towards that formula. You also have peppermint in the blend. Peppermint, the menthol from peppermint, is the active ingredient. That we've already talked about through Peppermint Halo really allows for widening of blood vessels, for increasing blood flow to the surface of the skin, very effective in pain management. Another important ingredient in the blend is clove. You may have heard of clove being used as an analgesic. It's actually very popular in dentistry. So a lot of times for people who can't handle anesthetic or aren't looking to go the more medicinal route, they can use something like clove to actually acutely numb a space. So that really allows you to think about how it would work in terms of targeting pain receptors. You also have Roman chamomile. This is known in aromatherapy as a nervine, so that's a sedative. something that's deeply relaxing. We talked about this earlier, the idea that pain is stressful to the body. So not only do you need ingredients that are actually going to be numbing and analgesic to the pain space, you're going to need ingredients that are going to be soothing to the mind and really calming and helping to just bring you back into your body and sort of like move through those difficult spaces. So I mentioned I've been using this very consistently, and there's a few key reasons. A lot of what I've experienced sort of residually since my surgery is stiffness. So particularly when I wake up in the morning, you've been sleeping through the night, you haven't had motion in the limb. A lot of times you'll have something that feels very rigid. You get a lot of rigidity within the muscles and the tissue. My first move every single morning is to get up and to really generously apply this to both the front and the back of the knee and just sort of around the leg to get some movement. Different than Peppermint Halo, where most people, in my experience, have the experience of the cooling effect. This is more of a warming piece. So that's from your sweet birch, from your rosemary, from your marjoram. Yes, peppermint and menthol are ingredients within the formula, but my experience is that that warm note sort of dominates. So that's one of the ways that I have just found this to be incredibly effective and impactful in my life. I also use it on my lower back, on my hip, anywhere that I've just sort of moved through in my transition of healing, the experience of having tension or soreness. So created specifically for anything like backache, strains, sprains. People love this product before and after workouts. I love the idea of using the product sort of preliminarily, and the idea of that is that you're going to get some movement in the muscles, you're going to get some loosening in the tissue, and again, that increased blood flow, and that can actually help prevent some of the soreness or the aching that comes a little bit later. So it's in such a large bottle, it feels so fantastic. My best tip for extra strength is once you have completed a bottle, so when you've used it all, is to actually hold on to your empty applicator so you can use it for massage. So again, I want to just show you that ball there. It has like a little bit of a bevel at the top, and it feels fantastic when you are just rolling this really deeply into the skin. So even if it was something, you know, over the shoulders, or again, for me, it's in the leg, and it just feels really, really nice, but you're not going to over dispense with too much product when you've already applied what you need, but now you're just looking for more of the massage. So this one again is called Extra Strength. And my friends, that brings us to the end of the products that I have today. I hope that those are 6 products that whether you've heard of them, whether you've used them or you haven't, that you're more curious about and you've learned something. I love, love, love to chat with you in the comments section. So if you have any questions, any feedback, anything you're curious about, it would be my true pleasure to suggest even alternative uses or recommend ways that you can sort of pair products together. Anything you want to chat about, I am here to do so. I'd like to just encourage you to keep your eyes peeled to our social channels for updates about our next session, when you will see us again soon. I always like to provide a little teaser that we're going to have some great brand new products coming up in the next few weeks, so make sure to tune in. And on that note, I wish you all a wonderful weekend. I wish you some connection, some time in nature, and really just sort of tuning into yourself and your wellness needs. Thank you again for joining, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.